Hello, my name is Nescha Jelk and I'm the Director of Euphoria. I first heard about Euphoria before I was involved in the project. So I was working with Emily Steele, the playwright, on another project and I heard her talking about this creative development regional tour that she was doing. So she was visiting towns throughout regional South Australia, visiting communities, visiting mental health units, visiting schools, and going to these communities and asking them, what is the good thing and what are the tricky things about living in a country town. And I was really intrigued by the project. And I was like, I wonder who's directing that one. Who's going to be directing that one? And it sounded really exciting. I loved the amount of consultation that had happened with this project from before she'd even written a first draft of the play, that the play came out of these conversations. And I think it's a really good conversation to have, to celebrate what it is to live in regional South Australia. And also to talk about what are the harder things about living in regional South Australia at the same time. And growing up in, I think it's almost classified as regional South Australia, but not quite. But still, fairly country enough. I grew up in, on a farm. And I feel a kind of connection to this material myself. And so I was really excited about it when I was approached to direct the work. I said yes immediately. When directing a new play, a new work, you've really got to be flexible in your approach because every play is very different from the other. Just like every playwright who writes them is different from the other. So I think as a director, it requires you to be quite flexible in how you think about developing new work and responding to the playwright's own processes, and then also kind of infiltrating some of your processes as well. Infiltrating is an interesting choice of word there. But, it's a really interesting experience, and so it kind of feels like you're learning how to do it again new with every new work I've done. I don't think there's a stock standard response I could think about that approach, but it's a part of the reason that makes directing new work so much fun is that you are figuring out your process every time anew, and you are figuring out the relationships with all the new creatives and casts that you're working with. So I knew that I wanted to be involved in theatre from quite a young age. I don't really know why I made that decision. It was just a decision I'd made very early on. But I didn't really know exactly how or what form that would take. So for a long time I thought that would be as an actor. And then I was just got into drama school, so I went to Flinders Drama Centre. And after my first year there, I had this amazing teacher called Anne Thompson who asked me if I would like to try directing, which I would never have had the guts to pursue myself originally, because at that time I didn't know any young directors. I thought you had to be some kind of super brain. I was quite naive at the time. I was sort of super brain, grey-haired person, older. That I'd have to have read, thousands of billions of books and know all the answers to everything. It terrified me to say the least. But then I had a really amazing advice from Anne, who she told me that, as a director, you don't have to have all the answers. You just need to come into the room with the right questions. And that just completely shifted how I thought of directing, and still like influences my core practice to this day. That, you know, I don't have to have all the solutions to everything, but, you know, it's about collaborating. It's about working with the people that you gathered together in that room, you know, picking everyone's brains, getting us all to think about the work together and you know, figure it out together, that the director isn't alone in that task. So that's my biggest piece of feedback for anyone that ever starts directing. Yeah, that it's not a solo genius kind of, you have to be a genius to do it, basically. You don't have to be this all-knowing godlike being or pretend that you are that either. You can just admit when you don't know the answer to something, or yeah.